Blood splattered across the white floor of the emergency room. The automatic doors hissed open and 2 security guards dragged something inside. Something big. Something that made every doctor and nurse in the room take 3 steps backward. Dr. Norah Whitman looked up from her paperwork and froze. She had been working at Harmony 7 Medical Station for 3 months now, and she thought she had seen every type of alien species that existed in this part of the galaxy. She was wrong. The creature lying on the floor was massive, easily 12 feet from nose to tail. Its scales were black, so black they seemed to swallow the light around them. 6 legs bent at odd angles, clearly broken. Wings that looked like torn leather spread across the floor. But the worst part was its face. 3 rows of crystalline teeth jutted from its jaw, and its eyes glowed with colors that kept shifting. Blue, then green, then purple, then something Norah had never seen before. "What is that?" asked Dr. Hallex, a tall Centaurian physician who had been showing Norah around the station. "Drathal," one of the guards said. He dropped the creature's arm and stepped back quickly, as if he had touched something poisonous. Found it floating near Sector 7, nearly dead. The creature's chest barely moved. Dark blue blood pooled beneath it, spreading slowly across the clean floor. Its breathing sounded like grinding metal. Dr. Hallex shook his head immediately. "We cannot treat this. Get it off my station." "What do you mean you cannot treat it?" Norah stepped forward, her medical instincts kicking in. "It's dying." "It is a dragon," Hallex said, as if that explained everything. "The Drathal bring disaster wherever they go. This is known across the galaxy. We do not touch them." Norah looked around the emergency room. At least 15 medical professionals stood there, all different species from different worlds. Not one of them moved toward the dying creature. A young nurse who looked like she was made of crystal actually backed into a corner, her body flickering with what Norah now recognized as fear. "Someone called Dr. Quinn," Hallex said. "She has experience with unusual biology." They waited 5 minutes. Dr. Quinn arrived, a floating jellyfish-like creature who moved through the air using some kind of internal gas system. She took one look at the dragon and her tentacles curled up tight against her body. "No," she said, her voice translating through a device. "I will not approach that thing. The Drathal are cursed. Every world they visit falls into chaos. I have 300 years of medical experience, and I am telling you, let it die here or remove it from the station." The dragon's eyes flickered. For just a moment, Norah could have sworn it looked directly at her. Then the glow faded slightly, and she knew what that meant. She had seen it enough times in medical school. The body was starting to shut down. "This is insane," Norah said. "You're all doctors. We don't let patients die because we're afraid of them." "You are human," Hallex said, not unkindly. "You have only been in the galaxy for 30 years. You do not understand the history. The Drathal appeared before the great collapse of Rigel. They were seen on Centauri Prime before the plague. Wherever they go, death follows. It is not superstition. It is fact. Correlation is not causation," Norah shot back. She had heard that phrase 1,000 times in medical school. Just because they show up before disasters doesn't mean they cause them. "We have rules," said Station Director Plex, who had just arrived. He was a small Centaurian with elaborate robes that marked him as important. "The station charter says we must treat all species in medical emergencies. But it also says we must protect the majority of station residents. If our medical staff refuses to treat this creature, then we have no qualified personnel. Therefore, we must remove it." "You mean let it die," Norah said flatly. "I mean we cannot force our staff to violate their cultural beliefs," Plex said. "I am sorry. Truly. But this is not a human decision to make." Norah looked at the dragon again. Its breathing was getting slower. One of its back legs twitched, and more of that dark blue blood spread across the floor. She thought about the oath she had taken when she became a doctor. First, do no harm. That was the English version. The original Greek was more complicated, but it meant the same thing. Help people. Don't let them suffer. Don't let them die if you can save them. She thought about her mother back on Earth. Her mother had been a veterinarian in rural Montana, and Norah had spent her childhood watching her mom treat animals. Dangerous animals sometimes. She remembered the time a wounded wolf had crawled near their property, and every neighbor said to shoot it. Her mother had tranquilized it instead, fixed its broken leg, and released it back into the wild. "Fear is natural," her mother had said that night, But compassion is a choice. You can choose to be afraid or you can choose to help, but you cannot do both at the same time. Norah took a deep breath. She had not traveled 40,000 light years from Earth, had not left behind her family and friends and everything she knew, just to watch someone die because everyone else was too scared to act. "I'll do it," she said. The entire emergency room went silent. Even the soft hum of the medical equipment seemed to pause. "You cannot be serious," Halleck said. "Dr. Whitman, you have only been here 3 months. You do not understand." "I understand that there's a dying patient on my floor," Norah interrupted. "And I understand that I'm a doctor. So unless you're going to physically stop me, I'm going to treat this patient." Plex held up his hands. "Dr. Whitman, I must advise you—" "Noted," Norah said. She walked toward the dragon, her heart pounding so hard she could hear it in her ears. Every instinct told her to run. The creature looked like something from a nightmare. Its teeth alone were as long as her fingers. Its claws could easily cut her in half. She knelt beside it anyway. The dragon's eyes opened wider. That strange, shifting glow fixed on her face. And then a voice echoed in her head, deep and rough like grinding stones. "Foolish mammal, you don't know what you're doing." Norah swallowed hard. "Maybe not," she said out loud. "But I'm going to help you anyway." Behind her, she heard the emergency room doors close. Through the glass walls, she could see the other medical staff watching, waiting to see if the human would survive her own stupidity. Norah grabbed her medical scanner and started to work. The medical scanner beeped 3 times and then made a sound Norah had never heard before. A high-pitched squeal that meant the device had no idea what it was looking at. "Great," Norah muttered. She tapped the scanner's side, trying to reset it. "Come on, work with me here." The dragon's chest rose and fell, each breath slower than the last. Up close, Norah could see that its scales weren't just black. They had patterns in them, like oil on water, shifting and moving. Beautiful in a terrifying way. "Your device cannot read me," the voice said in her head again. Norah jumped slightly. She wasn't used to telepathy yet. Most aliens in the galaxy communicated through spoken language or translation devices. "Well, that's a problem," Norah said, "because I need to know what I'm working with here. Where are you hurt?" The dragon's eyes flickered toward its side. Norah moved carefully around the massive body and saw it. A wound in the dragon's torso about the size of her fist. But this wasn't a normal injury. The edges of the wound sparkled with strange energy, and the flesh around it looked like it was vibrating, moving between solid and liquid states. "What did this?" Norah asked. "Quantum disruptor," the dragon said. "Weapon designed specifically to kill my kind. It destabilizes our cellular structure, makes our atoms forget how to stay together." Norah had read about quantum weapons in her training, but she had never seen one used on a living being. They were illegal across most of the galaxy, banned by the Galactic Convention after the Third Sector War. She looked closer at the wound and felt her stomach turn. She could see through parts of the dragon's body to the floor below, not because the wound went all the way through, but because portions of the dragon's flesh were becoming transparent, phasing in and out of reality. "This is beyond anything I've trained for," Norah admitted. "Your biology doesn't work like anything I've studied." "Then I will die," the dragon said simply. "Thank you for trying, human. It has been a long time since anyone showed my kind basic kindness." "I didn't say I was giving up," Norah said sharply. "I said I haven't trained for this. There's a difference." She stood up and looked around the surgical bay. Through the glass walls, she could see at least 20 faces watching her, some curious, some afraid, all of them waiting to see if she would fail. Norah ignored them. She focused on the problem in front of her. The dragon was dying because his cells couldn't maintain stability. The quantum weapon had disrupted the bonds that held his atoms together, so she needed to restabilize those bonds somehow. "Tell me about your biology," Norah said, pulling equipment from the surgical station. "Your blood, what does it do?" "It carries power," the dragon said. His mental voice was getting weaker. "My kind evolved near a black hole. Our cells contain microscopic singularities. They generate energy, keep us alive, keep us strong, singularities, mini black holes inside his blood cells." Norah shook her head in wonder. No wonder the scanner couldn't read him properly. His biology was based on physics that humans were only beginning to understand. "And your organs?" Norah asked, pulling up a portable surgical station. "They look like they're flickering in and out." exist partially outside your dimension, the dragon explained. We phase between realities. It protects us from most weapons. But quantum disruptors target that exact ability. Force us to exist in only one dimension. Our bodies cannot survive that way for long. Norah's mind raced. She needed to think outside the box. Way outside, she looked at the equipment around her and had an idea. It was crazy. It would never work according to any medical textbook she had ever read. She was going to try it anyway. I need you to trust me, Norah said. She pulled over a containment field generator, the type usually used to hold samples of radioactive material or stellar core fragments. This is probably going to hurt. Pain is irrelevant if I am dead, the dragon said. Norah activated the containment field around the wound. Immediately, alarms started blaring on the equipment. The field was trying to contain the quantum energy and failing. She adjusted the settings, pushing the field to maximum strength. The dragon's body convulsed. His claws scraped across the floor, leaving deep gouges in the metal. Sorry, Norah said, but she didn't stop. She grabbed a quantum computer from the research station, something the scientists used for complex calculations. She synced it with the containment field, using the computer's processing power to calculate the exact frequency needed to match the dragon's cellular vibration. What are you doing? The dragon asked, his mental voice strained. Your organs need to exist in multiple dimensions at once, right? Norah said, her hands moving fast across the controls. So I'm creating a controlled environment where they can stabilize. Think of it like a cast for a broken bone, except this cast exists in 4 dimensions instead of 3. That should not work, the dragon said. Yeah, well, neither should you, Norah shot back. And yet here we are. The quantum computer hummed. Numbers scrolled across its screen faster than Norah could read them. The containment field started to pulse in rhythm with the dragon's heartbeat. Slowly, very slowly, the edges of the wound stopped vibrating. The transparent sections of the dragon's body became solid again. It's working, Norah whispered. She didn't dare to say it louder, afraid she might jinx it. She spent the next 2 hours stabilizing the dragon's internal organs one by one. It was the most difficult surgery she had ever performed. She had to use gravity manipulation fields to support organs that weighed more than she did. She had to route power from 3 different stations just to keep the equipment running. Her back ached. Her hands cramped. Sweat dripped down her face, but she couldn't stop to wipe it away. The dragon stayed silent during most of the procedure, but Norah could feel his presence in her mind. Not intrusive, just there, like someone standing beside her offering quiet support. Why are you doing this? The dragon asked finally. You gain nothing. You risk much. Norah paused for just a moment, adjusting a setting on the quantum field. Where I come from, we had a saying. An oath, really. First, do no harm. It means that no matter who you are, no matter what you look like or where you come from, if you need help and I can give it, I will. Your species is very young, the dragon said. You have not learned cynicism yet. Maybe, Norah agreed. Or maybe we just decided that cynicism is a choice, not a requirement. She was so focused on the surgery that she didn't hear the alarms at first. It wasn't until the dragon's eyes widened that she looked up. Station Director Plex's voice came over the intercom. Attention all personnel. We have an unauthorized docking at Base 7. Armed individuals have boarded the station. They are demanding we turn over the drathal. Security teams are responding. Norah's blood went cold. Who are they? The ones who shot me, the dragon said quietly. They have come to finish what they started. Norah heard the footsteps before she saw them. Heavy boots against metal floors getting closer. She looked at the surgical bay's control panel and hit the emergency lockdown button. Thick metal shutters dropped over the doors with a heavy clang. That won't stop them long, the dragon said. He tried to lift his head but fell back, still too weak. You should leave. They want me, not you. Not happening, Norah said. She kept working on stabilizing his wounds even as her hands started to shake. I'm not done here. Through the reinforced glass walls, she could see other medical staff running, trying to get away from whoever had boarded the station. Security guards rushed past carrying weapons Norah had never seen them use before. A voice boomed through the station's speaker system. This is Captain Torque of the Silver Reapers. We are here on official bounty business. Surrender the drathal criminal and no one else needs to get hurt. Criminal? Norah looked at the dragon. What's he talking about? Lies, the dragon said. His eyes flickered. They claim I destroyed a civilian transport. Killed everyone aboard. They have been hunting me for weeks. Something in his tone made Norah pause. Did you? The dragon's mental laugh was bitter. If I wanted to destroy a ship, human, there would be nothing left but atoms scattered across space. No, I did not destroy that ship, but I was there when it happened. Norah heard banging on the surgical bay doors. Someone was trying to force them open. She had maybe 5 minutes before they broke through. Her mind raced. She grabbed her medical scanner and pointed it at the pieces of metal she had removed from the dragon's hide earlier. Shrapnel from whatever had hit him. The scanner beeped and displayed results that made her stomach sink. The metal fragments carried the same quantum signature as the dragon's wound. The same weapon that shot him had been used on that ship. They did it, Norah whispered. The Silver Reapers destroyed that ship, didn't they? And they're blaming you. Correct, the dragon said. The ship was carrying children, refugees from the outer colonies. I arrived too late to save the ship, but I managed to get the life pods away before. His mental voice trailed off. Before the Reapers destroyed it completely. I am the only witness to what they did. The banging on the door got louder. Norah heard someone yell, "Get the plasma cutters!" You need to broadcast this, Norah said, thinking fast. You need to tell everyone the truth. Who would believe a dragon? The creature asked. You heard what your colleague said. We are harbingers of disaster, bringers of doom. No one will take my word over a respected mercenary company. Norah looked at the scanner in her hand. Then she looked at the station's computer terminal. Maybe they won't believe you, but they might believe science. She moved to the terminal and started uploading the scanner data, the quantum signatures, the timeline of events, the fact that the same weapon hit both the ship and the dragon. She set it to broadcast to every screen on the station. What are you doing? The dragon asked. Giving them evidence, Norah said. Not testimony, hard data. Let them draw their own conclusions. The surgical bay door started to glow red. The plasma cutters were working. Norah could see the metal beginning to melt. She finished the upload and hit send. Then she stood between the door and the dragon, her heart hammering in her chest. She had no weapons, no training in combat. She was just a doctor with a stubborn streak her mother had always warned her about. The door exploded inward. 5 figures stormed in, all wearing heavy armor and carrying weapons. The leader was massive, some kind of reptilian species with scarred scales and cold yellow eyes. He had to be Torque. Step away from the dragon, Torque said. His voice was deep and rough like rocks grinding together. This doesn't concern you, human. This patient is under my care, Norah said, surprised by how steady her voice sounded. And I don't release patients to armed thugs. Torque laughed. It was not a pleasant sound. Brave, stupid but brave. The dragon is a war criminal. We have authorization to collect him, dead or alive. Funny thing about that, Norah said. She pointed to the monitor behind her where her data was displayed. I just sent evidence to everyone on the station showing that the quantum weapon signature in his wounds matches the signature from the destroyed civilian ship. The same weapon that you're licensed to carry. Torque's expression didn't change, but Norah saw his hand tighten on his weapon. That proves nothing. The dragon could have shot himself to cover his crimes. Could have, Norah agreed. Except I also found something else in his wounds. Hull fragments. From the ship. Embedded in his scales. He wasn't attacking the ship. He was trying to board it. To save people. One of Torque's crew members shifted uncomfortably. Boss, maybe we should— Quiet, Torque snapped. He took a step toward Norah. You have no idea what you're interfering with, human. That dragon saw something he shouldn't have. If you're smart, you'll forget everything you learned here. And if I'm not smart? Norah asked. Torque raised his weapon. Then you'll have the same accident the dragon did. A new voice spoke up from behind Torque. That would be unwise. Everyone turned. Standing in the doorway was a small crystalline figure, Rook, the young medical assistant who had been terrified of the dragon earlier. But now they stood straight, their crystal body glowing with determination. The evidence Dr. Whitman uploaded has already been reviewed by station security, Rook said, their voice shaking but clear. I am Lumion. My species can read energy signatures like you read text. The quantum traces don't lie. The Silver Reapers destroyed that civilian ship. The dragon tried to save the survivors. More figures appeared behind Rook. Station security, and Dr. Hallex, the Centaurian physician who had refused to treat the dragon. Even he looked angry now. Captain Torque, Hallex said formally, you are under arrest for murder, piracy, and the use of banned weapons. Lower your weapons or we will be forced to. Torque's hand moved to a device on his belt. I don't think so. My ship is still docked to this station, and it's rigged with enough explosives to blow a hole through your hull. You have 60 seconds to let us leave with the dragon or everyone on this station dies. The room went silent. Norah felt her mouth go dry. She looked at the faces around her. Security guards with their weapons half raised. Medical staff frozen in fear. Everyone waiting for someone else to make a decision. That won't work either, the dragon's voice echoed. Not just in Norah's head, but somehow filling the entire room. Everyone jumped. You forget what I am, mercenary. What I can do. The dragon tried to rise, but his legs buckled. He was still too weak from the surgery. Norah caught him, or tried to. He weighed more than a car. She ended up just steadying him slightly. I cannot fight you, the dragon admitted, but I can phase your bomb out of this dimension. I can send it somewhere where it will harm no one. You're dying, Torque said, but there was uncertainty in his voice now. You don't have the strength. No, the dragon agreed. But she does. His glowing eyes turned to Norah. If you help me, human. If you channel your equipment through my natural abilities, we might be able to remove the threat. But it will likely kill me. The strain on my body in this condition. Norah looked at the dragon, then at Torque, then at all the innocent people on the station who had nothing to do with this conflict. Tell me what to do, she said. Time seemed to slow down. Norah could hear her own heartbeat, feel the sweat on her palms, see every detail of the room with crystal clarity. This was the moment. Everything came down to this. The quantum field generator, the dragon said, his mental voice urgent. Connect it to me. Use it to amplify my natural phasing ability. I can reach across space, touch the explosives on the ship and pull them out of normal reality. That will kill you, Norah said. She was already moving, grabbing cables, adjusting settings. Her hands worked on autopilot while her mind screamed that this was insane. Better me than thousands of innocents, the dragon replied. Besides, I am already dying. Not on my watch, Norah muttered. She looked at the surgical station's monitoring system. The dragon's vital signs were weak but stable. Barely. If we're doing this, we're doing it smart. I'm going to put you in a medical coma first. Reduce your body's energy consumption. Give you a better chance of surviving. There is no time. 30 seconds, Norah interrupted. That's all I need. Torque said we have 60 seconds total. I can work with that. She didn't wait for the dragon's permission. She grabbed a hypo spray loaded with a sedative she had adapted for his unique biology. It was guesswork, really, based on what she had learned about his physiology during surgery. It might work. It might kill him faster. She had no way to know. She pressed the hypo spray to his neck and injected. The dragon's eyes flickered. Brave or foolish, human. I still cannot decide which you are. Both, Norah said. Definitely both. His massive body relaxed as the sedative took effect. His consciousness dimmed but didn't fade completely. Norah could still feel his presence in her mind. Quieter now, like someone speaking in a whisper. She worked faster than she had ever worked in her life. She attached monitoring electrodes to the dragon's scales, linked the quantum field generator to his nervous system, routed power from every available source in the surgical bay. The equipment groaned under the strain. 40 seconds, Torque said. He sounded almost amused. You're wasting your time, Norah ignored him. She synchronized the quantum computer with the field generator, creating a feedback loop that would amplify the dragon's natural abilities by a factor of 10, maybe 20. She had no idea if it would be enough. 20 seconds, Torque said. Norah's fingers flew across the controls. She adjusted frequencies, calibrated the power flow, and prayed to every god she could think of that this would work. 10 seconds. She activated the system. The dragon's body lit up from inside. His scales glowed with that same shifting, impossible color Norah had seen in his eyes. The light grew brighter and brighter until Norah had to look away. The air in the surgical bay started to shimmer. Reality itself seemed to bend around the dragon's body. Norah felt a pulling sensation like gravity had suddenly decided to work sideways. What? Torque started to say. Then the dragon's consciousness expanded. Norah felt it like a wave washing over her mind. The dragon's awareness reached out across space, through walls and metal in the void beyond. She could feel him searching, finding, touching the explosive device on the Silver Reaper's ship. The effort was enormous. The dragon's body convulsed despite the sedative. Alarms screamed on every monitor. His heart rate spiked. His blood pressure dropped. He was dying, being pulled apart by the very power he was channeling. No, Norah said. She grabbed the control panel and made a split-second decision. She rerouted the quantum field, using it not just to amplify the dragon's power but to support his failing organs, the same way she had stabilized him during surgery. The equipment screamed in protest. Warning lights flashed across every display. Norah was pushing the medical systems far beyond their design limits, but it worked. The dragon's vital signs stabilized. Not by much, but enough. And in that moment of balance, with Norah's human technology supporting his alien biology, the dragon completed his task. Reality twisted. Through the observation windows, everyone in the surgical bay saw it happen. The Silver Reaper's ship flickered, became transparent for a heartbeat, and then something small and bright appeared in the space between the ship and the station. The explosive device. Phased partially out of normal space, suspended in a dimension where its detonation would harm nothing, it exploded silently, a flash of light that existed and didn't exist at the same time. The station didn't even shake. Torque stared in disbelief. His weapon drooped in his hand. That's impossible. The dragon's light faded. His body went limp. Every monitor in the surgical bay flatlined. No, Norah said. She was already moving, grabbing a cardiac stimulator. You don't get to die after that. Not after pulling off the most incredible thing I've ever seen. She pressed the stimulator to the dragon's chest and activated it. Nothing happened. She tried again. Still nothing. Around her she heard whispers. The security guards were moving in to arrest Torque and his crew. Dr. Hallex was coordinating the response. But Norah ignored all of it. Her entire world had narrowed to the dragon in front of her and the flat lines on the monitors. Come on, she said. She adjusted the stimulator's frequency, matching it to what she had learned about the dragon's unique biology. Come on, don't you dare give up now. She activated the stimulator a third time. The dragon's body jerked. One of the monitors beeped. Then another. His heart started beating again, slow and irregular, but beating. His eyes flickered open. The glow was dim, barely visible, but it was there. Stubborn human, his mental voice whispered, so faint Norah almost couldn't hear it. You should have let me go. Not a chance, Norah said. Tears were running down her face, but she didn't bother to wipe them away. You saved everyone on this station. I'm not losing you 5 minutes later. The dragon's consciousness faded into sleep. Real sleep this time, not death. His body needed to heal, to recover from the massive strain he had just endured. Norah kept working, stabilizing his vitals, adjusting medications, monitoring every system. Hours passed. Her legs ached from standing. Her eyes burned from exhaustion. She didn't care. Behind her, station security had taken Torque and his crew away. The evidence of their crimes was overwhelming. The survivors from the refugee ship had already been recovered from their life pods. Children mostly, just like the dragon had said. They were alive because of him. Dr. Hallex approached carefully. Dr. Whitman, you should rest. We can take over now. No, Norah said simply. He's my patient. I'm staying. Hallex was quiet for a moment. Then he nodded. Very well. But at least let me assist you. It seems I was wrong about many things today. The least I can do is help correct those mistakes. Norah looked at him surprised. The old Centaurian physician looked uncomfortable but determined. I would appreciate that, Norah said softly. Thank you. As they worked together, Norah felt something shift in the air around the station. News of what had happened was spreading. The story of a dragon who saved thousands and a human doctor who refused to let him die. She had no idea yet how much that story would change things. She was too tired to think about the future. Right now, all that mattered was keeping her patient alive. 3 days passed before the dragon woke up properly. Norah had barely left his side. She slept in a chair next to the medical bed, ate meals someone brought her without really tasting them, and watched the monitors like her life depended on it. On the third morning, the dragon's eyes opened and stayed open. You are still here, he said, his mental voice stronger now. Where else would I be? Norah asked. She was checking his vital signs, noting with satisfaction that they were almost normal. Well, normal for a dragon anyway. You could have left after I stabilized, let others finish the work. I could have, Norah agreed, but I didn't want to. The dragon was quiet for a moment, studying her with those strange, color-shifting eyes. You are an unusual human, so I've been told. Before they could continue, the surgical bay doors opened. A group of beings entered and Nora's breath caught. They were drathal, 3 of them, each one as massive and intimidating as the dragon she had saved. The medical staff outside the bay scrambled backward, fear written on every face. But the lead dragon moved with careful grace, clearly trying not to frighten anyone. When they spoke, their mental voice was gentle, almost warm. "I am Vareth. This one you saved is my sibling. I came as soon as I heard what happened." Norah stepped protectively in front of her patient, then felt ridiculous. What was she going to do against 3 dragons? Still, old instincts died hard. Vareth's eyes crinkled slightly. A dragon smile, Norah realized. "Peace, Doctor. We mean no harm. We owe you a debt beyond measure." The dragon on the bed, Scaroth, as Norah had learned his name was, made a rumbling sound. "Sister, you should not have come. The younger species will fear." "Let them fear," Vareth said, but not unkindly. "For too long we have hidden ourselves away because others fear us." But this human did not fear. She saw only someone who needed help. Vareth turned to Norah. "You have done what no one else in the galaxy would do. You treated my sibling when every other physician refused. You risked your life for him. For this, you have the eternal gratitude of the drathal." Norah felt her cheeks warm. "I was just doing my job." "No," Vareth said firmly. "You did far more than your job required. You did what was right even when it was hard, even when you were afraid. Do not diminish that." Over the next few hours, Norah learned more about the drathal than she had ever known. Vareth explained their history, their nature, the reason why they seemed to appear before disasters. "We do not cause catastrophes," Vareth said. "We sense them. Our biology allows us to perceive distortions in space-time, weaknesses in the fabric of reality. When a disaster is coming, we feel it pulling at us. We go to try to warn people, to help them evacuate, but they see only our arrival, not our intent. They remember us, not the warnings we gave that went unheeded." "So you're not harbingers of doom," Norah said slowly. "You're more like early warning systems, trying to help." "Exactly," Vareth said. "But after centuries of being attacked, hunted, blamed for events we tried to prevent, most of my kind retreated into isolation." Scaroth was one of the few who still believed the younger species could be reasoned with. Vareth looked at his sibling with obvious affection. "He was proven right, it seems," Scaroth rumbled again. "One human does not represent an entire species." "Perhaps not," Vareth agreed. "But one human can inspire others. Already I hear stories spreading across the station. About a doctor who stood against fear and prejudice, who saw a patient, not a monster." Norah shook her head. "I'm not special. Anyone with medical training would have done the same." "But they didn't," Vareth said softly. "They didn't." Before Norah could respond, Scaroth shifted on the medical bed. "Sister, I wish to give the human a gift. Do I have your permission?" Vareth looked surprised. "Are you certain? That is not a small thing." "I am certain." Scaroth reached up with one massive claw and carefully, almost delicately, removed a single scale from his chest. The scale was the size of Norah's palm, black as midnight, but with that same oil-slick shimmer she had noticed before. "Take this," Scaroth said, holding it out to her. "A drathal scale freely given is precious. It will serve as a beacon. No matter where you are in the galaxy, you can use it to call me, and through me, any of my kind. We do not give these lightly. It marks you as a friend to the dragons." Norah took the scale carefully. It was warm to the touch and surprisingly light. She could feel a faint vibration coming from it like a heartbeat. "I don't know what to say." "Say you will remember this moment," Scaroth said. "Say you will continue to see individuals, not species. To judge by actions, not by ancient stories and inherited fears." "I can do that," Norah promised. The doors opened again, and Station Director Plex entered with several officials. He looked uncomfortable, probably because he had 3 drathal staring at him. "Dr. Whitman," Plex said, keeping his distance. "The Galactic Medical Assembly has sent a message. They want you to speak at their next conference. About what happened here. About your decision to treat the drathal despite cultural taboos." Norah blinked. "The Assembly? That's the most prestigious medical organization in the galaxy. I'm nobody, just a human doctor who's been in space for 3 months." "You are the doctor who changed history," Plex said, "whether you intended to or not. The rescue of those refugee children has been confirmed. The crimes of the Silver Reapers have been exposed, and the drathal have agreed to open diplomatic channels for the first time in centuries, all because of what you did here. I just helped someone who needed help, Norah said quietly. Exactly, Vareth said. That is what makes it remarkable. Over the following days, the story spread further. The media picked it up. Suddenly, everyone across the galaxy knew about the human doctor and the dragon. Some praised Norah's courage. Others criticized her recklessness. But everyone was talking about it. More importantly, people were questioning their own prejudices. If the terrifying drathal weren't actually evil, what else had they gotten wrong? What other species had they judged unfairly? Dr. Halleck stopped by one evening while Norah was finishing her shift. I owe you an apology, he said without preamble. I have been a physician for 90 years. I thought I knew everything there was to know about medical ethics. But you taught me something in a single day that I should have learned decades ago. What's that? Norah asked. That knowledge without compassion is useless. That fear is the enemy of healing. That sometimes the youngest voice in the room is the wisest. He paused. I have recommended you for a permanent position here at Harmony 7, with a significant promotion. I hope you will accept. Norah looked at Scaroth, who was sleeping peacefully in his medical bed. She looked at the scale he had given her, which she now wore on a chain around her neck. She thought about her mother back on Earth. Who would be so proud? I accept, she said. 2 months later, Norah stood in front of a viewport, watching ships come and go from Harmony 7. So much had changed since that day in the emergency room. The station felt different now, lighter somehow, like a weight had been lifted that no one realized they had been carrying. Someone approached from behind. Norah recognized the footsteps now, heavy but carefully placed. Scaroth had recovered fully, but he had chosen to stay at the station. He was training, he said, learning to work alongside other species, learning to be a bridge between his people and the rest of the galaxy. You are troubled, Scaroth said. His mental voice was familiar now, almost comforting. Nervous, Norah admitted. The Galactic Medical Assembly speech is tomorrow. I have no idea what to say to them. Tell them the truth, Scaroth said simply. It has worked well for you so far. Norah laughed softly. The truth, right. The truth is I'm terrified. I'm 29 years old. I've been a doctor for 4 years and in space for 3 months. What do I know about galactic medicine or politics or any of this? You know the most important thing, Scaroth said. He moved to stand beside her, his massive form somehow not intimidating anymore, just familiar. You know that compassion transcends species. That fear is a choice, not a requirement. That one person can make a difference. I just helped one patient, Norah said. One. And that patient saved 1,000 lives, Scaroth reminded her. And those lives will touch others, who will touch others still. You created ripples, Norah Whitman. You have no idea how far they will spread. Movement caught Norah's eye. Through the viewport, she saw something that would have been impossible 2 months ago. A drathal ship docking at the station openly, no longer hiding in the shadows. 2 young dragons emerged, and a group of medical students waited to greet them. The students looked nervous but excited. Not terrified. Not running away. Your siblings' program is working, Norah said. Vareth had proposed an exchange program, where drathal would train at multi-species medical facilities. Harmony 7 was the pilot site, because you showed it was possible, Scaroth said. Before you, no one would have dared. Now look. 5 stations have already volunteered to host drathal medical students. 3 more are considering it. Rook, the young Lumian assistant who had stood up to Torque, hurried past carrying a stack of data pads. They waved at Norah and Scaroth without any sign of fear. Just a friendly greeting between colleagues. Norah waved back. It's strange, Norah said. I keep waiting for everything to go back to normal, for people to remember how scared they were. Some still are, Scaroth said honestly. Change is not easy. There are protests on some worlds, calls for the drathal to return to isolation. But there are also voices speaking up for us now. Voices that question old fears. That is progress. Norah touched the scale hanging around her neck. She had worn it every day since Scaroth had given it to her. I got a message from Earth yesterday. From my mother. She saw the news coverage. She said she was proud of me. As she should be. She also said I was exactly like her. Stubborn. Can't see an injured creature without trying to help it, no matter how dangerous. Norah smiled. I used to think that was a criticism. Now I think maybe it was the greatest compliment she ever gave me. They stood in comfortable silence for a while, watching the activity of the station, ships arriving, ships departing, species from across the galaxy moving past each other without incident, the normal rhythm of life. "Can I ask you something?" Norah said eventually. "That first day when you told me I didn't know what I was doing. Did you mean it? Did you want me to walk away?" Scaroth was quiet for a long moment. "Part of me did," he admitted. "I had accepted death. It seemed easier than continuing to fight against centuries of fear and hatred. But another part of me hoped that maybe finally someone would see past the scales and the teeth in the stories, that someone would see me." "I saw you," Norah said softly. "I saw someone who needed help." "And I saw you," Scaroth replied. "A healer in the truest sense. Someone who understood that medicine is not just about fixing bodies. It is about recognizing the worth of every living being." The next day, Norah stood before the Galactic Medical Assembly. Thousands of doctors, physicians, healers from hundreds of species filled the massive auditorium. Norah had never seen so many different aliens in one place. She felt very small and very human standing at the podium. She thought about running. She thought about all the reasons this was a terrible idea. Then she thought about her mother, about Scaroth, about those refugee children who were alive because a dragon had saved them. She began to speak. "I am Dr. Norah Whitman from Earth. 2 months ago, I did something that many of you believe was foolish. I treated a patient that every other physician on my station refused to touch. Not because they lacked the skills, but because they were afraid. Today, I want to talk to you about fear." She told them the whole story, the dying dragon, the refusal of her colleagues, the choice she had made, the discovery of the truth about the Silver Reapers, the bomb, the rescue. "I was terrified," Norah said honestly. "Every moment I was afraid. Afraid of making a mistake, afraid of the dragon, afraid of what others would think. But I realized something important. Being afraid is not the problem. Letting fear make our decisions for us is the problem." She looked out at the audience. Some faces were skeptical. Some were thoughtful. Some, she was pleased to see, were nodding. The drathal are not the first species to be misunderstood. They will not be the last. As medical professionals, we take oaths to help all who need it. Not just the ones who look like us. Not just the ones we feel comfortable around. All of them. She paused, gathering her thoughts. Humans are new to the galactic community. We don't have centuries of history here. Maybe that makes us naive. Maybe it makes us reckless. But maybe, just maybe, it also gives us a fresh perspective. We see individuals, not stereotypes. We ask why not instead of why bother. And we believe that the future can be better than the past. She reached up and touched the scale around her neck. "Scaroth gave me this scale as a gift. It marks me as a friend to the drathal, but I don't want to be the only one with this honor. I want a future where any doctor from any species would make the same choice I made, where we judge beings by their actions, not their appearance, where compassion is stronger than fear." Norah took a deep breath. "I don't know if that future is possible, but I know we will never reach it if we don't try, if we don't take that first step. Even when we are afraid, especially when we are afraid, because that is when it matters most." She stepped back from the podium. The auditorium was silent for a long moment. Then someone started clapping. Then another, then more. Within seconds, the entire assembly was on their feet, applauding. Norah felt tears on her cheeks, but she was smiling. Later, back on Harmony 7, Scaroth found her in the medical bay. She was reviewing patient files, back to her regular duties. "You did well," Scaroth said. "We did well," Norah corrected. "You, me, Rook, Dr. Hallex, everyone who chose to see past their fear." "The beginning of something," Scaroth said. "The beginning of something," Norah agreed. Through the medical bay windows, she could see the station buzzing with life. A human doctor consulting with a drathal physician, a Centaurian nurse training with a Lumian student. Species working together, learning from each other, slowly building bridges across ancient divides. It wasn't perfect. There were still problems, still prejudices, still fear, but there was also hope. And sometimes Norah thought hope was enough to start with. She looked at Scaroth and smiled. "Ready for rounds?" The dragon's eyes glowed with warmth. Always. They walked through the medical bay together, a human and a dragon, partners in healing. Behind them, the future unfolded one small choice at a time. One act of compassion, one moment of courage, one person deciding that fear would not make their choices for them. And across the galaxy, others watched and wondered. If a young human doctor could look at the most feared species in the galaxy and see only someone who needed help. What else was possible? What other bridges could be built? What other fears could be overcome? The answer, Norah thought, was simple. All of them. With enough compassion, enough courage, and enough stubborn determination to do what was right instead of what was easy, anything was possible. She had learned that from her mother. She had proven it on Harmony 7. And now, maybe the rest of the galaxy was starting to believe it too.